The Joint Research Station Helios Array floated in silent orbit around a bright blue giant star. The star's light shimmered across the metal walls of the station, giving everything a soft glow, as if the place was wrapped in a dream. Humans and Valari worked together there, though they came from very different worlds. Humans were warm, expressive, and emotional. The Valari were calm, quiet, and spoke mostly through gentle telepathic waves. Their bodies seemed carved from crystal and glass, glowing from within like lit sculptures. They were beautiful but distant. Captain Mira Soland had been assigned to the station as the lead human diplomat. She was in her early 30s, tall with thoughtful dark eyes and hair she always wore tied back. Mira believed deeply in peace. She believed in understanding. She believed that curiosity was not something to fear. But she also believed in emotion. She believed feelings could be strong, guiding, and honest. This was something the Valari did not fully agree with. Among the Valari delegation was Lyran Veth, a scientist and star interpreter. He was unlike the others of his kind. While the Valari were usually cold in expression, Lyran's glow changed softly with his mood, like gentle light shifting beneath the crystal surface of his skin. His telepathic voice carried warmth, curiosity, and a quiet kindness. It was said by his peers that he felt too much. And though they never said it loudly, some considered that a flaw. Mira met Lyran on her first day at the Helios Array. She remembered the moment clearly. The Valari did not shake hands like humans did. Instead, Lyran placed one hand lightly on his chest and a soft light pulsed in his skin. Mira smiled and bowed her head politely in return. She spoke aloud, but Lyran's reply arrived in her mind like a soft whisper. "Welcome to the Array, Mira Solan. I have been waiting to meet you." There was nothing romantic in that first greeting, only curiosity, but it felt gentle, unusual, different from every other introduction she had experienced. From that moment forward, they saw each other almost every day. They were assigned to the same project, decoding star resonance patterns coming from the blue giant below. The star released waves, not random but rhythmic, almost like music. No one knew who or what had created those signals or why. It was a mystery that excited Mira, and one that Lyran seemed to almost feel on a deeper level. They worked long hours in the observation dome, a circular room with a transparent ceiling that displayed the vast glowing star outside. The dome was quiet, filled only by the soft hum of machines and the gentle echo of their voices. And slowly, very slowly, they began to speak of things beyond work. Mira would talk about Earth and about oceans, forests, and rainfall. Lyran listened, fascinated. The Valari had no oceans, no trees. Their world was made of shimmering stones and crystal plains. Lyran would speak about the silence of his homeworld, how the wind made music across crystal mountains. Mira would close her eyes and try to imagine it, landscapes that sang, skies that reflected light like diamonds. They exchanged stories. They exchanged thoughts. They exchanged understanding. It was small, quiet, and precious. But there was something else too, something unspoken. Mira noticed it first when she laughed at one of her own small mistakes. Lyran's glow changed, a soft warm shimmer almost like a blush. He seemed moved in a way that Valari were not supposed to show. Mira didn't say anything then. She only smiled and continued working, letting the moment rest gently in the air between them. But others noticed. One day in the shared dining hall, Mira walked in and saw a group of Valari staring in her direction. Their expressions were neutral, but their telepathic voices whispered across the room in quiet, subtle waves. "He grows too close. It is not appropriate. Emotion leads to imbalance." Mira didn't need to hear their full conversations to understand. Their glances were enough. Relationships between Valari and humans were not forbidden by law, but they were discouraged, strongly. The Valari believed emotional closeness weakened rational judgment. They believed love was a distraction. They believed attachment led to danger, but Lyran did not avoid Mira. In fact, his presence near her grew more intentional. He walked with her to research meetings. He shared silent moments of stargazing in the observation dome. He listened when she spoke, truly listened with full attention, and Mira found herself drawn to him too. Not because he was beautiful, though he was in a delicate, shimmering way, but because he was kind, sincere, curious. He cared about what she felt. He cared about understanding emotions instead of fearing them. One evening, when most of the station had gone quiet, they stood side by side in the dome. The star below glowed bright blue, sending waves of light across their faces. Mira was thinking of Earth. Lyran felt her thought before she spoke. "You miss your home?" His voice in her mind was soft. She nodded. "Sometimes. Not always. Sometimes I think I was meant to be out here, looking for something new." There was a pause, like gentle breath between them. Lyran turned his glowing eyes toward her. "I have also felt that there is something beyond what is expected of us." Mira looked at him. Really looked. "Do you feel different from the others?" she asked quietly. Lyran did not reply quickly. Instead, the crystal light in his skin dimmed and brightened slowly like a heartbeat. "I feel," he said finally, "and they do not approve of feeling." There was no sadness in his voice. Only truth. Mira stepped closer just slightly. Not enough to touch, just enough to share the same warmth of presence. "You don't need to stop feeling," she said softly. "Emotion doesn't make you weak. It makes you human, or Valari, or whatever we are. It makes us alive." Lyran's inner light brightened, not sharply, but like sunrise slowly blooming. He looked at her, and there was no mistaking the emotion in his gaze. It was connection. Deep, gentle, real. But before anything more could be said, the door to the dome slid open. A Valari elder in tall, rigid, glowing with cold white light, stepped inside. His telepathic voice was colder than ice. "Lyran Veth, your presence is requested. Now." Lyran did not argue. Valari never argued with their elders. He bowed his head slightly and began to walk toward the door. But before he left, he turned back toward Mira. Only for a moment. Their eyes met. No words passed, no touch, no confession. But the meaning was clear. Something had begun. Something quiet. Something forbidden. Something neither of them wanted to stop, and though they did not know it yet, their hearts had already made their choice. Days passed after the Valari elder called Lyran away from the observation dome. Mira noticed the change immediately. Lyran still came to the research lab, still worked beside her, still listened and spoke. But there was a small distance now. Not a cold one, but careful, like someone trying to hold a delicate thing without breaking it. Mira didn't ask him what happened, and Lyran didn't say. But silence can speak too, and it said enough. Still, the work continued. The star below, them, the massive blue giant, pulsed again with rhythmic waves. Patterns, tones, almost like a message trying to speak through light. Mira and Lyran mapped the wave shapes again and again, trying to understand the meaning hidden inside. One evening, after many hours of work, the pattern finally made sense. Lyran leaned back from the projection screen, the glow of his crystal skin flickering in shock. "Mira," he said quietly, "these waves are not natural." Mira stared at him, her heart speeding up. "Then what are they?" Lyran lifted his hand to the screen. The light from the star's signal shimmered across his crystal fingertips. "They are warnings." Mira's breath caught. "Warnings from who?" Lyran shook his head slowly. "Not from anyone alive anymore. This message was created long ago, before both our civilizations." Mira stared at the star outside the dome windows. It looked beautiful, too calm. "What does the warning say?" Lyran closed his eyes and listened, not with ears, but with the soft, telepathic sense of his kind. "The star will become unstable, its energy will break, it will destroy everything within its reach." Mira felt her stomach tighten. The Helios array was close, too close. If the star surged or collapsed, the station would be destroyed. "Can we stop it?" she asked. Lyran opened his eyes, their glow dim with concern. "We may have very little time, but if we combine our technologies, human engineering and Valari energy channeling, we might stabilize the star's outer field." It was risky, uncertain, dangerous, but it was hope. Mira carried the report to the Human Command Council. Lyran presented it to the Valari Science Council. Both councils understood the danger, but they reacted very differently. The humans were alarmed, yes, but they trusted Mira's leadership. "If we work together," Mira said firmly, "we can save the station and the surrounding systems." The human commanders agreed to support her plan. The Valari Council, however, did not approve. To them, Lyran had grown too close to Mira, too emotionally involved, too influenced. To the Valari, emotions were unstable, and now they claimed his emotions had led him to rash risk. "Your attachment clouds your judgment," the council elder said to Lyran in a cold, echoing chamber on Valar Prime. "Emotion has made you weak." But Lyran stood straight, glowing softly with steady light. "My emotion has made me understand," he said calmly. "It has not made me blind." The council did not accept this. They ordered Lyran into memory stilling. Meditation at a deep, isolating mind state meant to erase strong emotional bonds. It was not pain. It was not punishment. But it was separation from the self. They wanted him to forget the feeling he shared with Mira, to forget curiosity, to forget warmth, to forget love before it could ever become love. Lyran did not argue. Valari rarely argued against command. He bowed his head once and walked into the meditation chamber. But his light flickered, not dimming, but resisting, just before the door closed. On the Helios array, Mira waited. She worked, she calculated. She prepared engineering models for the stabilizer. She answered every human commander who asked questions. She kept her voice steady, her hands steady, her face steady. But inside, she felt the absence of Lyran like a quiet echo in an empty room. Every time the star pulsed, she remembered his voice saying, "Warning." Every time she looked at the simulation, she remembered his glow shifting when he laughed. Every time she walked the observation dome, she remembered standing beside him in silence, a silence that felt full, not empty. She did not know what the Valari Council had done. But she felt something had been taken, and she feared it. Meanwhile, on Valar Prime, Lyran sat in the meditation chamber. The room was dim, filled with soft crystalline light. There was no sound, no movement, only stillness. The meditation was designed to quiet emotions until they faded, to dissolve attachment, to return a Valari to cold clarity. But Lyran did not let go. He remembered Mira's words. "Emotion doesn't make you weak, it makes you alive." He held on to that truth like a small flame in darkness. The meditation tried to calm him, erase him, flatten him. But emotion is not something that can be removed like dust. It is something that lives, and Lyran did not want to stop living. So he stood, slowly, quietly. He opened his eyes. The chamber was not locked, because no Valari had ever left before willingly. But Lyran walked to the exit, and the door opened. He did not run. He did not hide. He simply walked to the starship port, glowing softly like dawn. When Mira saw him again, hours later, she was standing in the observation dome. She had not slept. The star pulsed again with deep blue light, trembling slightly, a sign of coming instability. The door opened. Mira turned. Lyran was there. His glow was different now, clearer, brighter, stronger, as if every emotion he had once held back now lived openly in the crystal light of his form. Mira breathed out his name, barely a whisper. "Lyran." He stepped closer, not too close, just enough so she could see the warmth in his glow. "I chose this," he said softly. Mira didn't ask what he meant, because she already understood. He chose to feel. He chose to return. He chose her, even if no words of love had ever yet been spoken, and Mira, who had always been strong, felt tears quietly gather in her eyes. She did not hide them. Lyran reached out, slowly, gently, and placed his hand near hers on the observation glass. Not touching, but close enough that their reflections touched in the light of the star. Outside, the star pulsed, Stronger now. Dangerous. Time was running out. Mira wiped her eyes and nodded. No more waiting, she said. We have to start the stabilizer array. Lyran nodded. Together. The next days were filled with urgent work. Human engineers built the stabilizer frame. Valari energy weavers shaped the resonance amplifiers. Mira and Lyran worked side by side, guiding both groups, translating between not just language, but ways of thinking. There were moments of doubt, moments of pressure, moments when failure felt close. But every time Mira faltered, Lyran's calm presence steadied her. And every time Lyran hesitated, Mira's courage strengthened him. They did not speak of love. They did not need to. Their bond was already there, quiet, real, growing. The star's pulse grew more unstable. The final test approached. Everyone stood ready. The Helios array was filled with tension. The blue giant star outside the observation windows pulsed with brighter and brighter light. It was beautiful, but it was also dangerous. The waves of energy were shaking the station's shields, and everyone knew time was running out. Mira stood beside Lyran in the command center. Screens showed the stabilizer array building slowly in space, ring-like structures forming around the star, meant to calm its violent energy. Human engineers worked quickly, giving instructions through headsets. Valari energy channelers arranged crystal amplifiers to focus their telepathic resonance into the star's magnetic field. The two species worked together, something that had never happened at this scale before. But this cooperation did not come easily. The Valari Council had learned of Lyran's return, and messages from Valar Prime came in, severe and cold. Lyran Veth has violated our sacred emotional doctrine. He must return for correction. His influence is destabilizing the project. Mira felt anger rise, but she kept her voice calm. We are trying to save not just the station, she said firmly, but also the Valari colonies in the nearby systems. If the star collapses, your worlds will be in danger too. There was silence, heavy and cold through the speakers. The Valari Council did not answer. Lyran stood beside her, steady and mild. His inner glow was warm and clear, not frightened, not shaken. He had chosen his path. Mira felt a quiet strength rise inside her simply because he stood there. The final calculation. The stabilizer ring was now nearly complete. But there was one problem left, and a major one. We need someone to go to the external control module to manually adjust the resonance levels, a human engineer said. If we don't, the stabilizers will overload instead of calming the star. The control module was outside the station, suspended dangerously close to the star's unstable radiation field. If someone went there, the risk was real. But without adjustment, the entire station and surrounding systems would fall. Lyran turned to Mira. I will go. Mira stepped forward quickly. No, I'll go. I can handle it. Lyran's glow dimmed slightly like a sigh. Mira, he said softly, your body cannot withstand the radiation levels. My crystalline form can resist it for a short time. And we only need a short time. Mira looked at him, really looked at him. She saw not fear, not recklessness, but peace. He was ready, but she also knew what this mission meant. If Lyran went out there, he might not come back. Her heart tightened. She shook her head, voice trembling just slightly. I don't want to lose you. Lyran stepped closer, just close enough that their reflections touched again on the observation glass. You will not lose me, he said quietly. I found myself when I met you. I will not let go now. Mira's eyes filled with soft tears, but they did not fall. She nodded slowly. Then we do this together, she said. I will guide you from inside. Lyran's inner glow brightened with gentle warmth. Together, he agreed. The walk into light. Lyran entered the airlock and stepped into the open view of space. His crystalline form shimmered with inner light as the radiation from the star washed over him. It did not harm him immediately, but the clock had begun. Mira stood at the control deck, her voice steady and clear through the communicator. Move forward slowly. Your path is stable for now. Lyran drifted toward the suspended control module, a small metal sphere with glowing panels. The stabilizer rings around the star flickered and pulsed with growing strength. Inside the command center, humans and Valari watched in silence. Lyran reached the module and placed his hands on its surface. The lights inside it flickered to life, reacting to the energy in his body. Mira guided him carefully. Lower the amplification by 2 degrees, then increase harmonic balance by 1. Lyran followed every instruction, his telepathic focus merging with the machine. The stabilizer rings began to shift, the star's violent pulsing slowed. The station lights, steadied energy reading smoothed. It was working. But only for a moment. The star released a sudden surge, a shockwave of massive energy. The stabilizer rings shook. The station trembled. Warning alarms rang through every hallway. Mira's voice tightened. The star is pushing back. Lyran, you have to increase the resonance filter. Lyran tried. His glow flared, but the radiation was growing stronger. His movement slowed. His body, even crystal as it was, began to crack faintly along the edges. Mira's breath caught. Lyran, his voice entered her mind. Calm, steady, warm. Guide me. Not orders, not fear, just trust. Mira wiped her eyes quickly and focused. Okay. Blend your energy with the stabilizer. Don't fight the star's pulse, match it. Lyran listened, and did exactly that. His glow shifted, not resisting the light, but harmonizing with it like 2 voices singing together instead of against each other. The star's pulse softened. The stabilizer rings synchronized. The entire system began to settle. The alarms stopped. The lights steadied. The star calmed. Silence filled the command center. A deep, relieved silence. They had succeeded. Return and realization. Lyran floated slowly back to the airlock, moving carefully. His body was dimmer now, the crack still visible but no longer spreading. When he stepped back inside the station, Mira was waiting. She didn't hesitate. She stepped forward and wrapped her arms around him, gently, carefully, respectfully, but full of real emotion. Lyran closed his eyes, letting the light inside him warm back to life. No one in the command center spoke against it. Not the humans. Not even the Valari, because they all saw what love had done. It had saved them. It had saved everything. A new understanding. Later, the Valari Council sent another transmission. But this time it was different. The voice was not cold, not sharp, not accusing. It was thoughtful. Lyran Veth, your actions were guided by emotion, yet you acted with clarity, not chaos. We have seen that emotion can strengthen, not weaken. We will reconsider our doctrine. It was not a full acceptance, not yet. Change takes time. But it was a beginning. Lyran was no longer asked to return for correction. He was free to stay, not because he broke the rules, but because the rules had changed. The quiet promise. Mira and Lyran stood again in the observation dome, watching the now stable star shine steadily below. The station was safe. The worlds beyond were safe. And something new had begun, not just between them, but between 2 entire civilizations. Mira looked at Lyran softly. So, what happens now? Lyran's glow warmed, gentle and bright. Now, he said, we continue forward, together, learning, feeling, growing. Mira smiled, a real, full, warm smile. And Lyran returned the expression in his own way, his glow shimmering like sunrise through crystal. They did not need to speak of love. Love was already there, quiet, clear, strong, forbidden once, but now free.